Hi guys, it's Miss B. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I'm now on my third take of this video, so hopefully I get it right this time. We are going to build off the work that we did yesterday by talking about a somebody wanted but so again, and also by examining narrative nonfiction text a little bit more closely. So, I have The Cactus Hotel that we're going to read. You're going to do a stop and jot during that, which is what I've been messing up on every single time. I have the sticky notes, but I forget to pause the video. It's a little ridiculous. And I also am going to have you do a somebody wanted but so for The Cactus Hotel in Google Classroom, or Sam and Ben, you can do yours on paper. So I am right next door, although I am observing Miss Brown, so it would be great if you don't interrupt, but if there's an emergency, you guys can come over and help me, come over and grab me. You are expected to turn in Wednesday's homework, so last night's homework needs to go in the bin, and the substitute, who I believe is Mrs. Marquis, should hand out the Thursday homework for you. I put it on my desk, so it should be easily findable, okay? And you guys should be ready to take your quiz on Quizlet. Well, not on Quizlet, it's going to be on paper, but prepared to take your quizzes on Friday. So tomorrow when you're watching this, but 2 days from now for me. Okay? So yesterday what we talked a lot about was the difference between expository and narrative nonfiction text. And the idea that expository nonfiction is really more like textbooks, articles. If you guys were here, you'd be chiming in with things, and it would be so helpful. Things like information essays, those little primary readers that we talked about, that I have that are grade level for middle school, but you see them most often in elementary school. But that narrative nonfiction reads more like a story, and there are characters. And yesterday we read The Secret of the Mummies, and in that book we were able to identify the somebody, or the main character, the character motivations, or the wanted, the obstacle or the struggle for the character, which was the but, and then the resolution, which there really wasn't one in that story, but that would be sort of the so in the somebody wanted but so. So today I want to teach you that you can really stretch your thinking when you read narrative nonfiction if you read it as though you were reading narrative fiction. Does that make sense? So just like how we could do a plot diagram of The Midwife's Apprentice, you could do a plot diagram of The Secret of the Mummies, because they're both narratives. And that there was a main character and motivations and all the things that you find in a really good story, fiction story, in narrative nonfiction. To do that, I want you to listen to The Cactus Hotel, and I want you to be thinking about these things. This chart, by the way, is also in our classroom, but I thought for the purposes of the video it would be helpful for me to point them out. So identifying and reading narrative nonfiction. You already know that this story is narrative nonfiction because we talked about it yesterday, but when you're reading something, to help you identify it, you can say, is this a story? Right? So when we talked about biographies, which to me are sort of a trickier subgenre in nonfiction, you guys knew right away that a biography would be a narrative nonfiction as opposed to an expository. If it is narrative nonfiction, you need to read asking yourself these questions. Who is it about? What are some of the traits of the main character? What does the character want? What are its motivations, its needs? What dangers or struggles does it encounter? And then really what belongs at the bottom of this poster is, how does the character overcome those struggles? Because in almost all stories there is a resolution, okay? And one could argue that in The Secret of the Mummies, the resolution was really that Howard Carter persisted even though he knew about the curse. Whether or not he believed it, though, is sort of debatable. So you should have a pencil. You do not need your laptops yet, so they belong in the case. I should have said that at the beginning of the video, but please do not make me redo this video again. But your laptops belong in the case until you're ready to do the Google Classroom question. Okay, so take your stop and jot paper. Put your name on it, because I'm going to want you to turn it in. And let's get started. So this is the Cactus Hotel. And I think you guys will be able to see the pictures well enough, because now that I'm on my third take, I have noticed, I've kind of figured out how to move the book, I think. So hopefully it works. I just have to remember to stop when I actually want you to stop and jot. So keeping those questions in mind on that poster, you're going to stop and jot when I tell you to. On a hot, dry day in the desert, a bright red fruit falls from a tall saguaro cactus. Plop! It splits apart on the sandy floor. 2,000 black seeds glisten in the sunlight. When the air cools in the evening, an old pack rat comes out and eats the juicy red fruit. Then he skitters across the sand. A seed left clinging to his whiskers falls off under a palo verde tree. It's a good place for the seed to drop. A spotted ground squirrel looking for something to eat does not see it. A house finch chirping high in the palo verde does not see it. After many dry days, a heavy rain falls on the desert. Soon, a young cactus sprouts up from the ground. Please stop and jot now. Are you able to identify who the main character is? And are you able to identify any traits about that character yet? Mrs. Marquis, if the kids need more time, you could pause the video now. Give them a second, but no more than really like a minute. I think that's what we should do. Pause the video, give them a minute, and then start me back up again. Okay, so starting again. This page. Slowly, slowly the seedling grows. Palo verde protects it from the sun and cold winter nights. After 10 years, the cactus is only 4 inches tall. It's just big enough for desert ants to climb its spiny sides. After a rainstorm, when the desert blooms with color, the cactus pulls in water with its long roots and looks fat. You can see about it like that. A young pack rat stops to drink the water that drips off the tree. Then she scurries off looking for a dry place to make a nest. When there is no rain, the cactus uses up the water it has stored inside and looks thin. The palo verde loses its tiny leaves, but there is always some shade for the cactus below. After 25 years, the cactus is 2 feet tall. A jackrabbit cools off beside it and gnaws on the green pulp. But when a coyote moves in the distance, the jackrabbit disappears into a nearby hole. After 50 years, the cactus stands 10 feet tall and looks straight and strong beside the old palo verde. For the very first time, brilliant white and yellow flowers appear at the top of the cactus. Every spring from now on, the flowers will open for one night only, then close in the heat of the day. They beckon like a welcoming signal across the desert. At different times of the day and night, birds, bees, and bats come for the nectar. The flowers dry up, and after a month, the bright red fruit filled with black seeds is ripe and ready. A Guyot woodpecker comes to eat. He looks around the cactus and decides to stay. He has found the perfect place in the desert to begin a new hotel. Mrs. Marquis, if you could please stop the video. Guys, it's time for you to chat again. I'm sorry, not chat. Stop and jot. Okay, coming back. The woodpecker goes right to work, and the only tool he uses is his long, hard beak. Tap, tap, tap. He bores into the flesh of the cactus. Tap, tap, tap. He digs deep inside to make a space that is comfortable and roomy. The cactus is not harmed. It forms a rough scab all around the hole to protect itself from drying out. The woodpecker gets a weatherproof nest that is shady on hot days and warm and insulated on frosty nights. And the cactus gets something in return. The woodpecker likes to eat the insects that can bring disease to the cactus. Stop and jot there, please. Okay. Let's see, can I fold it so you can see the whole thing? After 60 years, the Cactus Hotel is 18 feet tall. To add more space, it begins to grow an arm. A woodpecker has a new hole in the trunk. Farther up, a white-winged dove makes a nest on the arm, and down below, an old hole is discovered by an elf owl. The birds feel safe living high up in a prickly plant where nothing can reach them. All around the desert, shifting, okay. All around the desert, there are holes of every size for ants and mice, lizards and snakes, rabbits and foxes. After 150 years, there are holes of every size in the cactus, too. The giant plant has finally stopped growing. It is 50 feet tall with 7 long branches. It weighs 8 tons, about as much as 5 automobiles. Everybody wants to live in a cactus hotel. Birds lay eggs and pack rats raise their young. Even insects and bats live there. When one animal moves out, another moves in, and every spring they come for a special treat of nectar and juicy red fruit. Please stop and jot there. Finally, after 200 years, the old cactus sways in a gust of wind and falls with a thud to the sandy floor. Its great thorny arms crumble in the crash. Stop and jot there, please. All right. The creatures that lived high up must find other homes. But those that prefer to live down low move right in. A millipede, a scorpion, and many ants and termites quickly find homes in the toppled hotel. After many months, all that remains are the wooden ribs that supported the cactus while it stood so tall. A collared lizard dashes over the top looking for insects. A ground snake huddles in the shade below. And all around, there is a forest of cacti slowly, slowly growing in the desert. Through hot and cold, wet and dry, some will survive long enough to become other cactus hotels. And that's the end. So, my little learners, what do you think who do you think the main character of the story is? What are some of the traits of that main character? What does the character want or need? What dangers or struggles does the character encounter? And then how is it resolved? Your challenge today is to go into Google Classroom and you will see an assignment that says somebody wanted but so, and I want you to complete that for the Cactus Hotel. Sam and Ben, you may do yours on a piece of paper. So you're just going to write out somebody, ... who the somebody is. Wanted, ... what they wanted. Okay? When you're done, I want you to turn them in to me, please. If you finish and there's time in class, which there should be, you may read, because your homework is to read to page 30 for tonight. And you may also work on your homework. Please be good for the substitute, and please don't make fun of my video too much. Thanks, guys.